The corn is as high as an elephant's eye. Hang on, here we go. Here we go. I'll put the link in.
Yeah, that seems to be on.
All right, let's see if this is. Now it says excellent connection.
Hooray!
So what did you do?
I
turned it off and on again.
I used the force.
The old force or the new one? Not the new one.
Yeah, the female
force is female, yes.
So is the force is female? Is that like a twerking thing then?
Sounds like rapey.
Yeah.
Yeah, force and female.
Yeah.
It would be Sean's cup of tea. Pity he's missing this. Right, okay. We'll just give it a couple of minutes just to see if anybody does find the link.
Yeah, let's put the link in the.
I did in the old one. Oh, but you're going to do it on the site.
Yeah, on the site. Figure out how to get a link.
Share.
Copy.
Yeah, bloody hell. Control C, Control V.
Hey, shut up. I'm going to.
Shut up. Stop, you moron. So the other night, my big poster, this one, I put it up with a command strip, one of those sticky strips. And
yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning, it decided to fall off the wall and crash to the floor. To which it was like, what the hell was that? And I thought it came from the bathroom. So I went into the bathroom, couldn't see anything. Immediately, I went, ghost. We got ghost. I was watching too many horror films, that is.
Okay, I thought it in the disc.
Oscar Pistorius or Pistorius, what he's called.
Fight.
Now you got dogs. Do you live on a farm?
Well, I live in the countryside, don't I? So yeah.
Yeah, you true. Yeah, with your hobbit voice.
Hello there, man. That's something we got to bring out with the Rings of Power as well. Is the accents of the Horrorfoot, because I kind of got Cornish, Yorkshire, Somerset, Irish.
Stream looks better, guys. Everybody.
Trinidad. Yeah, apparently it's not.
Yeah, I'm right.
Hello, Rogue Thought. The force is female, but what's a female? Who knows? Who knows what a woman is?
Yeah, we don't know. The force is female. What's a woman?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a biologist.
I've got more difficult questions. Right, so we were talking about Rings of Power. Lenny Henry is where we got to, and the cast. That's right. The fact. I mean, back in the day, Lenny Henry was quite funny. Back in the 80s.
Which one was he? I'm not.
He's the black Arthur. Yeah,
all right.
Exactly. Who is he? That's the biggest cast member they got. And Yoda's going, who's Lenny Henry? Again,
I recognize him. I just didn't. I don't know him by name that well. I couldn't. I'm sure he's to me. He's one of that guys.
Yeah, black. Oh, we get it.
Yeah. I walked into that.
Yeah. What do you mean, you people? But again, with it, he was kind of like the biggest name in there. All the other names I had are people I had to look up, apart from Morfoy Clark, who I do actually like, and I apologise if I'm in pronouncing her name wrong. But again, you'd think with all that money, they could just get somebody who just had a bit of presence that they could afford. Or maybe everybody's kind of in Hollywood sort of going, no, we're doing Rings of Power. Nope.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point. Perhaps everyone's just avoided it and just got like, screw that.
Yeah. Whereas Lenny Henry would obviously jump at the chance.
Well, yeah, he's not very famous anymore, is he? Do you think... I've lost my train of thought. Do you think people would just... I mean, why has it not attracted any big names? Do you think that's purposeful, that they didn't want any big Hollywood names to take the limelight off the show?
I think they couldn't read a script. Even Peter Jackson could get a hold of script. They're like, hey, Pete, would you like to help us with this? He said, sure. Can I see a script? Ghosted. He's like, okay, whatever.
I get the impression Tolkien's work's like a modern day Shakespeare. All the thespians seem to love it and want to star in it. So it just seems bizarre that they've got a bunch of people that no one's never heard of in it. Surely it would attract some real big names.
Tolkien was a well-educated man in English literature and all that, and he went to World War I think it was, and just he understood, story making, and he put years into trying to build this world. And from what I understand, he tried to do another one. He gave up because he just couldn't top it. But
it's funny because coming back to She-Hulk, I imagine She-Hulk was written over this period of maybe
over
a month.
A cocktail napkin in a bar.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was written over a period.
Hey-o.
Hey-o.
That's brilliant. But with it, like you say, but with Tolkien, he took years in creating this story, which is, I know you say it's boring again and whatnot. It's obviously just not your cup of tea, but the story is fantastic. The way it plays out and the characters and everything else. Oh, it is. Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really.
Just some lunatic wants his ring back, and he's got a couple of gay hobbits that have got the ring. You've got some old little tramp thing called Gollum who's trying to get the ring back, and then you've just got a couple of dozen people constantly riding across fields on horses, getting their swords out every now and then. I'm sitting here thinking, what is the attraction with this? I'll be fair, I like Anna Steele. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, this, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the contributors from the Last Movie Outpost.
Who loves Man of Steel.
Listen, it's just not my cup of tea. Look, do you know what? I'll give it another shot. Perhaps I'm wrong. I've seen it. I saw it in the cinema. I thought it was the most boring crap in the world. I watched it with my sons one Christmas. They had it on over Christmas a couple of years back, and I actually thought it was really good. And then I tried watching it a third time, and after about half an hour, I was like, nope, I'm not doing this again.
I mean, Tolkien's world is pretty much the basis for things like Dungeons and Dragons and all that. And I think that he created a fantasy world and created kind of the bullet points of what you would find in a fantasy world that nobody else has really been able to do since. He kind of created almost the default. So you got to give him credit for that. And the amount of work.
He created Elvish, didn't he?
Yeah,
Elvish, the language.
He created the languages. He created the language of Mordor and all that. I didn't hear that. Say.
I said I didn't know Elvis was in it. Now I might watch it.
I'm going to take this ring to Mordor.
Return to Mordor.
Boom. Thank you very much. Elvis has left the volcano.
Hey, listen there, Mordor. You can step on me, but don't step on my blue suede shoes.
Right.
Anyway.
And yet, this would be this little thing that we're doing now is better than the Rings of Power. So let me go over some of the notes that I took when I was watching this. Okay, first of all, it starts out with the most cliched opening with Galadriel as a little kid getting bullied by other little kids for no reason.
Yeah.
I have no idea why is she the outcast here? There's nothing that says that she should be an outcast.
And just to make a point on that as well, she opens it up. The impression I got, I can't remember the exact words, but she opens it up saying about how the world was good and pure and everything else, and then she literally gets picked on seconds later.
Then they show abuse immediately.
Yeah.
Well, like, we know why. I mean, I still think it was cliched, but at least we know why Spock was getting bullied as a kid is because he's half human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But why is Galadriel getting bullied? There's no reason for it. She's like did nothing. So then they bring on the cliched older.
She is a woman.
Yeah, they bring on the cliched older mentor, family member. In this case, an older brother. And immediately I thought, oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
Which it actually came a lot quicker than I thought it would, to be honest with you. I mean, it was like I said, he's dead, and like the very next scene, he was dead. I was like, holy shit! They didn't even they just show him on the slab and her being pissed about it. And so he gives her the cliched wise wisdom to give her, which is actually really terrible and stupid. We find it out at the end.
Yeah, and obvious. Yeah.
The way they showed it, it was like they pull back the camera for like 700 feet. And then all you can see is him basically doing a Biden. He leans in, takes a nice long sniff of her hair. And and then pulls back, and I'm thinking, oh my God, was that on purpose? And so then she's mad because he's dead because of Sauron. And I'm like going, why are you bringing Sauron into this? You know, make it somebody else. There's no reason to bring in Sauron because now she's made it her life mission to go after Sauron. And I'm like, if she's that pissed about Sauron, why isn't she that pissed in Lord of the Rings? She's just kind of staying on the sideline, letting other people do it. If she's that single-minded about the whole thing, that you've already blown up Lord of the Rings. So then they show her on her quest, and she's an incredible warrior woman who can do everything and everywhere. And that's no more exemplified than that horrifyingly bad snow troll fight where she has to come in and save the men, and she has to do it in awesome mode, trademark. Awesome mode.
It's as if the men all just suddenly went, "Ugh," and she saved the day and killed the troll.
They not understand that showing all those fancy moves, like her stabbing something without even looking at it, and all that kind of stuff that's supposed to look like a Hong Kong martial arts awesomeness, is like taking away. It makes it. It's like, I immediately don't find her awesome at all now.
Yeah,
it's having the opposite
Said it before.
effect.
Over choreography, don't need it. Go back to raw fights.
So then people are like, we've been trying to find Sauron for like 2,000 years. I think it's time to give it up. And she's like, no, not giving up nothing. So then they
You're
say,
a weak, pathetic, stupid man, and I'm a woman, and I can do it.
Right. So they all abandon her, so she has to give it up, I guess. And so she goes to visit Elrond. And they show kind of a variation of mansplaining with Elrond, where Elrond is like, you know, you need to stop. I mean, we haven't seen it's been 2,000 years. He's gone. I mean, do you have anything? I'm your friend. If you have anything that I can take, then, you know, I'm behind you, but you don't have anything. She goes, if you could see the things I've seen. It's like, okay, what? What have you seen? I don't need to tell you what I've seen. Oh, jeez.
I've seen She-Hulk.
I've seen things. Okay, well, like what things? Be specific. I don't need to tell you. If you don't know, then I don't need to tell you. I don't need to be mansplained. But I'm like, oh.
That's lazy writing.
Lazy, yes.
Yeah.
That's a typical woman argument. What have I done wrong? Nothing, you just have.
So then...
No, I can see the writer going, how do you spell Balrog? Oh no, she's not going to say it. No. I don't know. Is it B-A-L?
So then they go and they put her on a boat to, I guess, go to the Grey Havens, I guess. They're showing how they go to the Grey Havens, which I never wanted to see. I just assumed they went someplace. We don't know exactly what that means. Could be another man. Could be Haven.
What I like is when you travel on a boat, you stand like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you stand like that for no reason. Then you get all your armor taken off.
Yeah.
And then she jumps off the boat in the middle of the sea because she don't want to go to the Grey Havens. And that's a way to put her aside for 3 episodes because she's basically stranded at sea. You know, they couldn't have a dinghy or a lifeboat or something so she could get back a little quicker. That's just called filler, ladies and gentlemen, if I've ever seen it. And then, so that's all that. And she's just insufferable throughout the whole thing. And then they show the Harfoots. Because they can't legally say hobbits, I guess. And the Harfoots, first of all, you have this basically, well, from what I can tell, I think this was a joint operation with San Francisco to get rid of some of the homeless people. So they scooped them up and cast them in Lord of the Rings of Power. Because they're awful. They're grimy. They're awful. And, of course, they're very diverse because a nomadic tribe on its own. Like, think of the American Indians, how many different types of races in a tribe they had. And with the nomadic American Indians, how they look so different from each other. Redheads and the blacks.
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's how Darwinism and evolution works, guys. You figured it out. So, like, I didn't really care too much about the different races in the Elvish because they live forever and they're much more established, and I don't know. It's magic, so whatever. But the nomadic Harfoot tribe, they should have all looked basically the same because they're all a bunch of dirty gypsies.
Inbreds.
No, I like the fact of dirty gypsies.
That's what they were.
Even the dirty gypsies over here do all look the same.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got to get this right. Okay, so the elves are the proper English, and the dwarves are Scottish, and the Harfoots are a bunch of dirty Irish.
Well, no. You say that we were talking about that earlier. The fact that I heard a Cornish accent, an Irish accent, a Trinidad accent. That was what Lenny Henry was doing.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we've got to look up at these stars and find out what's going on, man. And it was just like, sorry, why are they all speaking completely different accents? They were like all over the shop. It was worse than Russell Crowe and Robin Hood.
Terrible. Terrifyingly bad. So then, the rest of it was just dull. I was kind of actually pleasantly surprised. I have to admit, I was pleasantly surprised that the most likable, enjoyable character in it was that dwarf's wife, the black dwarf wife. She was like
with the orange eyes.
She was like a good wife and a good mother, and was supportive of her husband, but calling him out when he was being kind of a douche. But was there with the kids, and she was happy, and she could smile, and she had some personality. She was like the best character in the entire thing. I hate to say it.
Funny enough, I'm completely the opposite on that, because I have seen interviews with her where she is saying, she's the first black female dwarf that you're going to see, and the photos of her all make her look quite powerful. And I saw her as an amusing sidekick. She's like
which made her fun.
But she's literally Kevin Hart to The Rock. No. But the way
I didn't see it quite that bad. I get what you're saying. I didn't see it that bad.
But the way she was portraying herself in the interviews and stuff, I thought she was going to be sort of kind of this more powerful and embracing woman. And what I got was this jokey. I mean, like I say, yeah, she's sort of a nice wife, but she was a comic sidekick. And I
avoided the interviews, so the only thing I saw was just the soap opera-esque opening where they just had people kind of coming in. And these are the days of our lives. On the next episode of Rings of Dumbness, we have.
Aren't dwarf women meant to have beards?
Yes.
So these ones haven't got beards?
No.
So does that make this show transphobic?
Yes.
Yes.
Checkmate, liberals.
Because they could have got trans people in to do that, but
they could have.
Hey, we're being progressive, but not that progressive, all right? We're not,
women with beards, that's ridiculous. He's a pregnant man.
I found her to be very likable. I found that scene to be kind of enjoyable, even though I'm not really that big a fan of the Elrond actor, at least the way they're portraying him. He's better than I expected him to be. The Harfoot stuff, I just bored. I don't know who fell out of the sky. They call him the Stranger. And everybody's saying it's Gandalf. I'm like going, maybe it's Saruman. You don't really know. So I don't know the lore enough.
I think it's Jeff Bridges.
Yeah,
from Star.
It's the dude.
No, from Starman is what I was going to say, because he fell out of the sky, didn't he?
I heard rumours that it's Gandalf because they need that recognition. And they need it to link to the
I guarantee
films.
if they can't use the word Hobbit, they're probably not going to use the word Gandalf, so you're never going to hear him called that.
No, but there'll be hints. I mean, again, I don't know too much about the lore of it, apart from what I've seen in the movies, but he had that big booming voice, this stranger from the stars. And there's that bit in where Gandalf fights that big devil thing in the cave. He's like, you shall not pass. Is that a little... Am I grasping?
Well, all the wizards are something else. They're not humans. They're something else. And I don't. If I had Feloido here, he could tell you up and down all the lore around them. But they're immortal for the most part. We see them as just wizards, but they're not like some dude that learned magic. They did come from someplace else, and they are these.
So they're a species.
Yeah, and they have Saruman the White, and you had Gandalf the Grey, and you had Radagast the Brown, and there were a couple of others, I think. But
never did Gandalf the Black, did they?
No, but give it time.
Yeah.
Yo, man, I'm Gandalf the Black.
You want to see some magic? I can make your car disappear.
That's right.
Yeah.
I run faster with a DVD player under my arm.
And there go the last few of our.
That descended quick. So,
and the stream is hiccuping again, strangely.
Sean's missing out.
They're servants of the Valar. Sauron is a Maiar as well. Okay, yeah, Sauron was like the wizards, and he went bad. And then Saruman went bad. But all the wizards are Maiar. Thank you. I knew the chat would help me out on that. So, but they're like this other thing. So, yeah, whatever. I don't know if this one is Gandalf or if it's Saruman or if it's Radagast the Brown or if it's somebody else. I don't know.
Who would you like it to be? Or who do you not want it to be, rather?
I just want it to be over.
I want it to be Iron Man.
Yeah, I want it to be Tony Stark.
I want to see a full crossover. It might as well be Superman. He came in from the sky and landed and, got taken under somebody's wing and stuff, didn't he? So, yeah, it could be Superman. I'd like to see Superman and the Lord of the Rings. I mean, the stupid thing is you say stuff like this in 10 years' time. Oh, God. Somebody's actually doing it.
I keep thinking of that. Will you continue
watching it, though?
I'm not. The worst thing, it was boring. It was really boring.
I think they're all boring.
I actually didn't think they were that bad. I give it like a 2 out of 5, in that it's all right, but it's not. Like I say, it's taking its time. I know there's going to be apparently 5 seasons. So I mean, that's what 5 times 8 hours is
40 hours.
I can't watch. I can't devote that kind of time to something that I cannot. There's nothing to latch onto. Everything is just.
But we're only 2 in.
Yeah,
the other 2 episodes in though.
The only other thing we've got to mention is, Ordin, the guy, the black elf. I can't even say his name. Arodin, the black elf, the miserable army bloke who is. Again, just so dull. What I like is the fact that there's supposed to be this like love connection between him and the healer in this village and stuff. And I'm looking at it and going, what? She's fallen in love with the most miserable sod on the planet. Really? I mean, it was about a believable love story. It's like Anakin with Padme in Attack of the Clones, where he's moaning and bitching all the time, but Padme still falls in love with him. Really? That's what girls like, moaning and bitching all the time. And
yeah, but Anakin had that big gold arm that transformed into a massive dildo.
They do like moaning and bitching, just they want to be the ones doing it.
Well, maybe they turns him on then or something. I don't know. But his character, again, was dull. And just every time he was on the screen, he was just dull and boring and just, it was a slog to get him to get
but
through.
They all are. In the films, everyone's a miserable bastard. I don't think anyone even laughs in the films.
Are you talking about the Lord of the Rings?
I just think, in Lord of the Rings, the whole thing, everything's just fucking depressing.
I don't think. Well,
the party beginning with Bilbo and that.
It's a serious. See, there were a couple of times where it felt like, in this one, they were. I don't know how to explain this. I wouldn't say that it was a modern colloquialism, but it was a modern reaction or the way they would speak back. Like when the girl fell into the mud and she kind of looked up and said enchanting. Like it's just the way they speak to each other kind of has that rhythm or that pattern that people today would speak. In the original Lord of the Rings, there was some moments of humor. There was some moments of that happening, especially like at the beginning of the first one and everything. But the way they portrayed that humor was not in a way people would speak today. It still worked, but it was done in a way that felt very authentic to the world they were trying to build. And a minute they don't do that, then it starts sounding really inauthentic. And that's where I was having some real problems with this. It's like I'm hearing those kinds of. We were talking about this a little while ago.
On
what was it?
Oh,
Phil?
for the trailer, it was the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons.
That was part of it. But there was something else. There was another one that we were talking where it felt really inauthentic, the way they were using modern language. It was a movie we just watched, and I can't remember what it was. What?
It was Prey. You mentioned about
Prey.
Like sassy look.
Yeah, the way they were speaking in modern day colloquialisms and the sassy look, and the way they responded to each other as if they were people today back then. And that's where I felt we had some of that going on in here. Now I understand you have to do some things for a modern audience, but there's a indefinable line where it's like it doesn't feel authentic anymore.
The great example for me for this was The Witch by Roger Eggers, is it? That one, the script in that I thought was so fantastically done because it was written as if it was. I mean, because apparently they did base it on diaries and stuff of how people talked back in the 1700s, 1800s, whenever it was, sort of the early colonial times of America. And I absolutely loved the script in that. I thought it was beautiful. But I saw a load of people watching it going, oh, they're all talking like funny English. It's all a load of crap. And I was thinking, that's how they spoke. I was going to say, I was the same with this Rings of Power, that the original movies, including The Hobbit, the scripting in them and the way that things are put over, they are done in that sort of classical English style, so that not like Yoda, where he's kind of not you Yoda, the other Yoda, the little green one, where he's kind of
the undrunken one, sober Yoda.
Yeah, sober Yoda. That's forever be called now, sober Yoda. But it wasn't so like, but they would sort of express things in just that different terminology. But it was just, the script was beautiful, and you believed it was. I haven't had a single sense of that from this at all.
No, I haven't either, and I think that's. It's a real problem when you lose authenticity. I get what you're saying, Eggy, that you don't like. I'm sorry, Matt. I get what you're saying that you don't like the Lord of the Rings.
Twat.
Twat. Host owner is speaking here. God damn it. I get what you're saying. It's not your cup of tea. It's fine. But I really enjoy the Lord of the Rings because everybody's taken seriously. And Eni Musso, he says they use the hobbits for humor mostly. That's where the humor arose from the Lord of the Rings, was usually from the hobbits. But the hobbits were never treated as jokes.
No.
They were serious characters who had... Yeah, they were not just comic relief. They were not jokes themselves. They had a lot of humor about their characters, but it was very situational. And the hobbits were treated like serious parts of the lore. And you can see that from the beginning to the end. I mean, the most heart-wrenching, emotional moments is when Sam puts Frodo on his back and carries him up the mountain. I mean, it's deep and affecting and that kind of stuff. And you go... Here, the Harfoots are, I wouldn't say they're treated like jokes, but I mean, they're portrayed so poorly. Why are they
not
dirty?
Like jokes, but they're just not treated seriously.
You're not treated seriously, but so much of it doesn't feel like it's being treated serious. And I'm like going, this is, well, I mean, the special effects for the most part are, except for that one scene in the dwarves' cavern where it felt like it was in a damn warehouse. But I don't know. I will agree. It's not. They're. Well, okay. So let's talk about it on the wokeness scale. It's like it's not as. It's both so woke and not as woke as I expected. And what I mean by that is we knew the casting. We saw the Black Dwarf. We saw the Black Harfoots, the Black Elf, all that kind of stuff. The feminist Galadriel, all of that stuff we knew was coming, and that is really super woke. But there wasn't anything additional past that I saw as super woke.
No.
Like all the things that we knew were going to be there were there, and then so you were expecting what else are they going to do? And there was no real what else. If you get my meaning.
Yeah,
Yes.
I did feel myself my eyes rolling at the whole Galadriel at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of just, oh, here we go, strong, she's better than men and she's better at this and she's better at that. And I, like I say, I was rolling my eyes, but then kind of they put her not to the side as such, but like you say, they've kind of just put her out of the way.
They put her out to sea. We'll see you in 4 episodes. Well, we gotta have her do something. Okay, have her fight a giant worm or something. I don't know.
Put her in the water when she's on her period. See if the sharks like it.
Speaking of sharks, I gotta have this one moment. Okay, yesterday on a whim we said let's go out to a movie. So I go look at the AMC and what are they showing? But an IMAX version of the original Jaws.
Yes,
Nice.
I know.
For $3.
I know.
And I went, you know what? Let's see this. And I went. So I was too young because Jaws came out in 75, so I would have been 5. And I didn't get to see it in the theaters. So I get to see it in the theaters, but it's like in pristine condition. And I tell you, that's one of those movies. And why I'm thinking of this is like this is one of those movies that I see it, and every time it's like the first time. I enjoy it every time more and more. It's one of the most rewatchable movies. An absolutely perfect movie. I can't find anything in the last 5 years that Top Gun Maverick maybe that I will have that kind of rewatchability on it.
Man of Steel.
Do you understand anything about Superman, Matt? Oh yeah, that's the essence of the character, destroying about 4/5 of Metropolis. That's the essence of Superman. Yeah.
He was learning.
Let's not get on
learning.
that. I want to tell you my quick story about Jaws. Then is when I was too young to see it. My dad had it on 8mm on our homemade cinema, and the bit where what's his name, Sebastian Shaw got eaten. My dad would turn the bulb off on the projector, so I didn't watch it, which was the worst thing to do because my imagination was far worse than what actually happened.
I tell you,
didn't work, Dad. Didn't work.
I tell you what was great about it is my wife is sitting there and she's seen Jaws, but not nearly as many times as I have. But to watch the 2 scenes, one where they go and find Ben Gardner's boat, and Hooper is diving under, and then Gardner and they do the jump scare when he comes through the hole in the boat, the dead body, and she flipped for a second, and then when he's chumming. And then, it comes up, and she flipped. She jumped on that one. It's like if you can still do that with a 50-year-old movie.
Yeah.
To my wife, and we're gonna need a bigger boat. And I can still hear people laughing and enjoying it. Certainly, people have seen it multiple times. It's like Spielberg and John Williams in their prime. It doesn't get any better, does it?
No. Just talking about it makes me want to watch it.
It was fantastic. I can't believe I was like, I've seen it a million times. Am I going to really enjoy it as much as I always do? And on the big screen, IMAX, I enjoyed it so much. So if you have a chance to do it, highly recommend it. Treat yourself.
Do you know what? They keep going on about cinemas failing and everything else and lack of ticket sales. Is one of the reasons they keep blaming COVID, obviously, but one of the reasons is because the material that's been launched today is shit. I went to see The Godfather 1 and 2 on the 50th anniversary several months back, and the place was packed to the rafters, and there was hardly a sound in the cinema where people were just watching it. And then a few years back, I went to see Alien when that was its 40th anniversary. I went to the cinema with my mate Russ to see Alien, and again, it was packed out. We don't have a phone problem over here in the UK, Yoda, with people on their phones in the cinema. It's very quiet. Everyone abides by the rules. And I'll tell you what,
it's mostly like that here.
You couldn't hear a peep over it. And cinemas need to start bringing back My local cinema just done Star Trek, the motion picture, and Star Trek 2. I missed them because I was on holiday. But they've just done them at the cinema. My second son went to see him. Now he's on holiday, so I haven't spoken to him about it. But that's what they need to start doing. If ticket sales are down and they've got a spare screen, chuck on an old film, because I guarantee you'll pack it out.
My cinema had Empire Strikes Back in 4K, and I missed it. And again, absolutely gutted. But the weird thing is you literally just sort of said there with what happened that you put on classic movies and the cinema is packed out. You put on good movies and the cinema is packed out. What's his name shown that? Maverick.
Yeah.
Whereas, with all these other movies, people are just Thor. Thor, exactly. That's exactly where I was going to go. Thor, people are looking at it and just sort of going, yeah, I'm a big Marvel fan, so I'll go and see it. But it's not just one of those films that's just, there was a time when going to the cinema was like it was a thing, it was an event, what you were going to see. And I mean, this year I've seen a few in the cinema this year, but again, there's nothing that's I've actually sort of gone, I need to see that in the cinema. It's just kind of no, it's weird because I know Elvis stopped streaming. I can't get into Elvis. I've tried. I turned it off. Couldn't get into it.
It's just a weird fairy tale version of his life that doesn't really add anything to his lore.
So let's come back to the point, because I think we should mention
talking of elves.
Anything but talk about this Rings of Power.
No. Well, it's just Rogue and Anonymous, so whatever they are, they've been having a nice chat between them. So let's bring that in. I haven't read the books. This is Rogue said, I haven't read the books, but I became a fan when I saw the Peter Jackson trilogy. If Rings came out without the trilogy existing, I wouldn't remember this show or have any interest in Tolkien. Yeah, that's a perfectly good.
It wouldn't have came out though.
Well, no, but I understand.
I mean, the trilogy made people Tolkien fans that before it was, I wouldn't say a niche group, but it was less of a mainstream thing than it is now.
But I understand what he's saying, that, like I say, if this series was your introduction to Tolkien, there's nothing in it that's going to make you sort of go, oh wow, this is great, I can't wait to see more. It would just be sort of, oh yeah, it's all right. Anonymoso has said, read the books though if you can. At least listen to the audiobook read by Nicholas. It's amazing. Actually, I might get the audiobook and have a listen to it, because I'm not big on reading. As I've just shown there, because I can't read people's names and stuff. Yoda, you all right, mate? Do you need the Heimlich?
I'm dying.
Okay.
Rings of Power is killing me.
Yeah, I mean, I should listen to the books actually, because I think they would be good. I think, like I say, the actual story and the world building and what Tolkien did is it's a masterpiece of work. It's got to be in like the top 50 books or whatever of all time and whatnot.
Where do you live, for God's sake? Seagulls, dogs, drag racing.
I think one of the seagulls just stole a car.
I live inside a GTA game, apparently. And so his work is great. But then to say that this Rings is inspired by, based on, and all this kind of stuff, not getting it at all. And it shows that with all the computer power that you've got, I always remember somebody saying to me when I was taking photos, this is one of my favourite quotes, and he was moaning that he wasn't getting any work as a photographer. And he said to me, I haven't got £10,000 worth of gear to be called an amateur. And it's kind of, right, so because you bought expensive camera gear, you're a professional, are you? And there was a great quote by somebody, and it said that a typewriter, a camera cannot take a great photo any more than a typewriter can type a great story. And with all these special effects that you've got, how much money they spent on making it look as perfect as possible, it doesn't matter if there's a crappy story and it's just not been very well written.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking about Top Gun earlier, and one of the things is that when you watch it in theater and they were in the real planes and all.
Yeah.
Amazing. Would that have really mattered if the story sucked?
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't have, because the things that made Top Gun work so well was all the little. I listened to this one guy, I forget his name. Let me see if I can find him real quick. But he was talking about how there's no villains in this Top Gun movie, right?
Yeah, true.
There's nobody that's
villains.
Considered a villain. So what you do is that you have these Phil Mento, that's who it is. So you have all these various push antagonists pushing against the protagonist challenges that have to happen. The first one is, Ed Harris comes in and tells him, you are a relic, but he's able to at least save his program of this stealth fighter and say not today, because he gets to, bring in a new group of pilots that are going to be working. So now we're talking about pilots versus drones, right? That's one of them. Then you have another protagonist fight between his history with Goose and his son and trying to mend that relationship. And that's a challenge that has to come. And then you have him always abandoning Penny Benjamin, but that they have a back and forth there, and him trying to get over abandonment and staying with somebody. That's something. And then him having another push against the John Hamm character where he has to, gain respect and show that he can do it for these boys, not for himself, but for these boys to run this mission, and that it can be done instead of losing pilots to the way John Hamm would have done it. And he had to do that by getting in the plane and, simulating it. And then, of course, then they actually have to do the thing.
By stealing.
Right. And then they actually have to do the mission. And then, he solves his relationship with Goose's son during that mission, plus, actually doing the mission. And then, all of that is like this constant push and pull, but it all builds upon each other until you work your way to the end of the movie. Oh, and by the way, they do it all in real jets. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
The real jets is up. And by the way, it's going to look amazing because we're doing it all in real jets. But they got the story figured out first. That's
the thing.
What brings the power is look at all the amazing vistas that we're able to do in New Zealand and wherever we're filming this thing. And what about the story? Oh, yeah, fuck, story. I couldn't even get a script to Peter Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why do they do it, though?
I see. It's weird because
money.
No. I mean, no. See, funny enough, I do think that. I do think the money is kind of secondary now to making sure you're making all the people on Twitter happy, and
I think you're right.
That a lot of stuff it has been done just for that reason.
It depends on who you're talking about. If you're talking about Jeff Bezos and Amazon. They bought the Tolkien because they believed Tolkien would be a cash cow for their Prime member.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But they are in this weird bubble misunderstanding that the people that they need to do this are these woke people. They're the ones who are doing this for Twitter, not for the money. And these two things cannot coexist.
No, that's what happened to Star Wars. They tried to make it all female-centric and everything else, and it all went completely tits up. That's why we haven't had any movies and no movies planned since The Rise of Skywalker or since Solo.
And the MCU with She-Hulk.
Why are they doing it?
Because
why are they doing it? Why are you buying these franchises and then fucking them up and then crying when the people that have built the franchise fight back and go, actually, this is shit? Well, I don't understand what they're. I don't understand. They've destroyed Star Trek. They've destroyed Star Wars. This looks like it's on the same trajectory. Marvel's being destroyed. So longevity. All right, you're saying money, but look.
Well, let me put it this. Let me.
These people do not look past the next budget quarters. These people do not. To the
they
future.
don't.
They make money.
They see IP makes money. That's all they know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me put it this way to you, Matt. Maybe this will help explain it a little bit. I know how to set up a website I know how to do the technical stuff with video most of the time. I know how to run an IT department. I know how to get a website working. I know how to put content on it. You know what I don't know how to do? I don't know how to market worth a damn. I don't know how to make sure that I understand how to get this message out to audiences and to, use social media or to use these things to my advantage. I think I understand my audience, but I don't understand how to get to there. I don't have that knowledge. I don't have that brain. I think that the people who run the studios, which are basically big corporations who went to business school, CEOs that went to business school, Jeff Bezos knows how to set up an online shopping experience. Clearly, he knows how to do that. He does not understand how to make money to create a good story and property. And unfortunately, the people in charge who know, or at least who have the keys to the kingdom to write and all that, also don't understand how to do that. And they keep out people because of political reasons who do. So this is what you end up with. You have a big guy who owns a property that should make him money. Lord of the Rings, whatever else we may think of this whole Lords of Power, the truth is, if you're able to buy a property like that, sink $1 billion into it, you should be able to create a story that would make money. If you have
pay writers. You could pay writers to do the job.
You could pay writers to do the job if you're willing to get the right writers. But the only contacts that you have are people that are ensconced in the wokerati. And they're going to hire more wokerati to do the thing. So they hire very inexperienced people who, shave half their head and color the other half and talk about white privilege all the time.
Who are hired on their genitalia and skin color.
Right. But they don't know how to actually write this. And neither does Jeff Bezos. He doesn't know how to write this stuff. Just like I don't know how to market worth it yet. So that's what's happening. We have people that are not suited or talented to do these things.
What I'm reading from that then is that it's cowardice. Because they're afraid to hire the right people to make it the success it needs to be. Because they don't want to upset.
They'll get shouted at on Twitter. They'll get shouted at, and people will cancel them, and this whole cancel culture.
But how many franchises have got to die or die on their asses like Star Wars, Star Trek, and Marvel?
I wish it were that simple.
This is kind of wrong.
I wish it were that simple. I mean, what does Jeff Bezos have to worry about? I mean, seriously, what can they cancel? You can't cancel Jeff Bezos. So then the question becomes, when you say cowardice, I'm like going, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, I think we, on our side of the aisle, tend to blurt out what seems to be an easy answer, but I don't know it's that easy. I think it's like, okay, he's in this his own bubble. When you're at that level, you're in a bubble where everybody's telling you how awesome, because you got people that are around him are too afraid to say anything boo to him. And he is not, and I'm telling you this from I've been in leadership positions within corporations. I've worked with various leaders within corporations and how people respond to them, the higher, the bigger the corporation gets.
Yeah.
Many, many times a CEO or leader of the company he wants the company to be successful. But it's very hard for people to feel comfortable to say no to him, to say this is not a good idea, or this is what we do, or even tell him that what is happening is going badly, because everybody's scared. They don't want to lose their job. So
there's episodes of The Simpsons like that, isn't there? I'm surrounded by yes men. Yes, sir, you certainly are.
Yeah,
that was the other point, though. Surely then you're hiring the wrong people. You're hiring yes men.
Probably, but it's very difficult. I can tell you, it's very difficult to find people who you trust to say the right thing to you and tell you the truth, that aren't afraid and yet also aren't psychopaths that are trying to take your job. I'm being totally serious about this. Like, if I get somebody that I hired that would be really, that I got to trust to tell me the right thing or to push back against things, you've got to be a person that's going to be very, high attention to detail. That's going to tell you this is why, and I've outlined it here in reasonable bullet points. As a CEO, I would be like, give me 3 options and tell me why the options are good. And one of the options should always be 3 or more options, but one of the options should always be, or do nothing. And this is what will happen. And here's the consequence. And to be giving you good data so you can make good decisions. And people are afraid to give good data up to the top for whatever reasons. And the whole woke stuff has made it even harder because you're so afraid to say anything because people are so reactionary to this stuff now. So you're going to get canceled. You're going to get blasted on Twitter or whatever else, especially in a high profile property such as Lord of the Rings. So I think it's a combination of these things that feeds on itself. And it's now that this bubble of crap, this hard, viscous garbage has been surrounding all these people and all this stuff, it's hard to poke your way through that and get, a beam of light in there. It says, wait a minute, hello, and get anybody to listen to you because it's just grown and grown and grown. So it takes a guy like Zaslav, who's basically just ripping apart Warner Brothers and DC and all that and getting rid of people and bringing in all new people to do that. Jeff Bezos, that guy, he should be, but I don't know if he's that clued in.
So it is cowardice then, because Zaslav has been brave. He's gone in there and just gone, everything here is shit. We're not launching anything.
Well,
he's done it. He's faced the mob. He's faced the Twitter mob and gone, bollocks, Jude. I need to build $1 billion franchise, and I'm not doing it with the people that I've got here.
Or does Bezos believe in this shit? Or is he just not giving good information? Or is he a coward?
I mean, he also watches the Post, doesn't he? So
yeah, that my point is that he either believes in this shit, or he doesn't understand because he's not getting good information from the outside, or he's a coward. I mean, all 3 of those things could be true. I'm saying that you got to look at these things from how, I wish it was, just as simple as like, I'm not going to do that, I'm scared. I mean, it's like, it's not that simple, it's usually there's a lot of things that go into this that build up on it. You got to crack through it and simplify it. Who's going to do that with Jeff Bezos? He's not going to listen to our podcast. I guarantee you that.
A classic example of this is the prequel trilogy produced by Rick McCallum, and how Lucas, as I understand it, threw literally the script together. But at some point, as the producer, Rick McCallum should have read that and gone, George, this isn't good. We need to get maybe some other people in, get some other writers in. But I imagine he read it and just looked at George Lucas and went, yep, this is good. We'll make this. And just was too afraid to say, no, this is bad.
Yeah, Kurt
was before social media, so you could get away with turning out something like that because you wouldn't have the Twitter and everyone else gobbing off about a shit product. You could get away with something like the Phantom Menace because at the time, they heavily relied on CGI. Everyone was like, look at that, this is incredible. So they used that to get away from it. But stuff like we're seeing today, and then let's be honest, Bezos hasn't got where he's got by being a kind-hearted man. He's probably an absolutely ruthless bastard.
Oh, I'm sure.
So if they've got to suspend reviews on their website for their $1 billion product for 3 days because of trolls, surely a normal businessman would go in and go, right, what the fuck has gone wrong here then? Because everyone should be biting our arm off for this product.
Well, they should. And that's the thing. This is where I talk about getting good data. This is where I talk about getting good data in. So how many you've been on Twitter a little bit there, Phil. You say that you're already seeing how people just love the Lord of the Rings, everything. And you got to wonder how much of it is either paid shills or bots, or people, paid shills creating a lot of bots to make it look like there's a lot more positivity towards it.
As I said, the one person I did pick out and said that it was brilliant, and particularly Malfoy Clark was fantastic, is the same person who thought The Rise of Skywalker was brilliant.
Look, so I'm sure there's people who think Rise of Skywalker. I'm sure there's people who think Rise of Skywalker is brilliant and The Lord of the Rings is wonderful and Man of Steel is great. But those people are few and far between, and the numbers are not real. And so sooner or later, that's just not sustainable. You cannot just put out fake numbers, fake all this stuff, and it's going to continue, and you're going to be able to get your return on investment. It's going to blow up on you sooner or later.
The thing is I do understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I do think in some respects you're wrong. That if they have suspended reviewing for Lord of the Rings and everything else, they could I know he's not an idiot, but they could go to Bezos and say, look at this, all the ratings are all over 5 stars and everybody's pleased with it and stuff. But the thing is, at the end of the day, what has happened is whatever people are talking about this, even us here, people are going, oh, I wonder if it is that bad, and subscribing to Prime and watching it. And when they subscribe to Prime, that at the end of the day, even if it is just that £8, because it's gone up now, it's £9.
Yeah, but not for all 5 seasons.
No, but
it's not a linear progression. It's going to go
something shit.
It's going to spike and then it's going to crash.
But then a lot of people, I mean, I say I used to be, I'm not kind of so more, but sometimes when stuff comes out and everybody's saying it's crap, that some people just go, really? Because I enjoyed it, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to enjoy it because everybody says it's rubbish and I'm going to be different from everybody else. And so, but whatever the reason, I bet if you looked at the facts and figures of Amazon, you saw a spike this week and they made millions out of it. Millions.
Yeah, but in the long run, Phil, they're going to lose money.
For me, I'm pretty sure they had a spike, but they're going to lose. I mean, we're talking about sustainability here, George, not just the initial viewing numbers.
No, I know, but again, I just don't think they'll still create. They'll find something in season 2, which is then going to be a hook, which is going to get people in to watch it again, whatever it might be. They're going to make Adriel black or something, or I don't know.
We're only 2 episodes in, so it might get. Again, I'm not that invested in Lord of the Rings, so it could potentially get better. But there's got to be I read on a website today that expectation. This is what they've quoted, right? Expectation that the series will be massively successful with such a vast fan base. That kind of fan base also brings a significant number of trolls with it. Star Wars, Star Trek, and Marvel can't keep blaming trolls for their failures.
I know.
They can't be doing it. It's just you're chucking money at nothing. It's just ridiculous.
Where's all the new movies? Where's all the new movies coming out for Star Wars? There's no more. They had to stop.
No,
because they don't have it's not sustainable. They're not making the money
because of the trolls.
No, because of the trolls. Yeah, it was trolls that made sure that there was only half as many tickets and half as much revenue for Rise of Skywalker as there was for Force Awakens. You can play trolls. I get what you're saying.
I was going to say it was trolls that made Solo the first Star Wars movie to not make a profit.
Right. This is what I'm saying, George. It's like all the stuff you're talking about where it's like, well, there'll be a spike and they'll make their money. It's like, no, they won't. It will. The quality is not there. All the fake reviews, all the Twitter bots, all the shills in the world won't matter because the numbers won't be there because people just find something else to watch. It's not like there's no shortage of shit to watch.
But we said earlier that ultimately the thing is that these are people that are entertained by watching television. These are people who are entertained by Twitter. These are people who are not connoisseurs of entertainment. They will eat any of the crap. Who was it put that in the thing? Yeah, these people will still consume the product.
But you're saying that like the numbers of those people are enough to sustain these properties, while in the same breath talking about how Solo fell apart. I mean, that's my point. There's just not enough of those people to sustain a $1 billion project.
They're a noisy minority.
The whole 5-season thing, I think, is a problem. Is because if they'd have done, it's like with them. What's his name's just been cancelled, Resident Evil, because again it was just utter garbage. And again, I bet they had a plan for that. And I mean, I would be so unbelievably happy that if the end of this Rings of season was the viewing figures was so bad that they cancelled the rest of it, would make me so unbelievably happy. But I think they kind of bought this product and thought, no matter what, we'll make money out of this. And if they don't, they're still going to have to carry on doing it. I think they've trapped themselves into a corner.
They have. I mean, the money is sunk, so they're going to do it. From what I understand, the 5 seasons are going to get made whatever the viewing figures. Because I don't think that they have a choice, from what I understand. But I mean, It's going to go down as Eggy says, unless they have a massive improvement, which I just don't see happening. Not with this group of untalented hacks doing it. There's just no sustainability for this sort of thing. That's going to be a huge hit to Amazon's Prime's ability to. And you know what's a shame? They have some really good stuff. Reacher,
yeah,
Bosch.
Reacher was great.
I mean, there's some really good stuff on Amazon. And
but see, again, there's a point. Then, is it a case of we get everybody watching Rings of Power, even though they know it's going to be bad? They get them subscribed, and then whilst they're there, it's a classic example of this was one of the Harry Potter books when it came out. I don't know which one it was, but one of the Harry Potter books, the company called Tesco's, which is a huge supermarket over here, they were selling the book at a loss. So they were losing 5p on the millions of copies that they sold. But they knew they would make the money back because when people were in Tesco's, I just need shopping, I just need milk, whatever. And our Amazon to play the same game that they are making this so bad that people are subscribing to see how bad it is, but then whilst they're there going, actually Reach is quite good. Oh yeah, Bosch is quite decent. Oh, they've got some decent films, and then stay in for that.
I don't think there's enough on Prime to make you wanna.
If they'd made this,
you're saving on postage and stuff and that kind of thing.
If they'd made this thing,
but if they've not done it by now, they're not going to do it over the weeks.
I'm just saying that that at the end of the day, I still think Amazon will be making money out of this, no matter what, no matter how good or bad it is. I still think they will be making their money.
I think if they made this for 50 to 75 million, maybe $1 billion, I don't think that's enough.
Apparently, the $1 billion is for all 5 seasons.
I don't think you can have I know, I understand, but I don't think you can have $1 billion loss leader for as a marketing campaign for your other shit when it's really. I mean, this is supposed to be the crown jewel of everything you have. I just don't think. I get what you're saying. I just don't think your comparison is apt because Tesco's is a grocery store, or like a. Right, it's like a Walmart or a grocery store. So, I mean,
but they do everything now. So yeah,
they do. But they don't.
It's worth them taking the hit on Harry Potter because they're getting everything else. They're not. It's not Harry Potter that are taking the hit. It's Tesco's that are taking the hit.
Yeah,
it's not like Harry Potter and Warner Brothers going, we're going to reduce the sales of this because Tesco's going to make some money back on milk. That's Tesco's decision.
I mean, Harry Potter wasn't their crown jewel. They suck a butt. You're talking just a few pennies off or a few dollars off of each book. I mean, I think this is totally different.
Do you think it's going to take something massive like Disney to go bust before these companies start going, we've really fucked up here? Because I was looking at some stuff the other day, and it's like someone was done a report. They went to Disney over the summer holidays, and they was queuing for like 20 minutes for some of the major rides, and they're like, "What is happening?" So, what I can tell you what's happening, they're running their properties into the ground. They keep pushing this gay trans activism bullshit that families are not interested in. Their products are crap. They've been caught grooming. Most of their, well, not most of them, but a percentage of their staff are all groomers being done for human trafficking. That's what's happening. So do you think, it's going to take something like Disney to go, actually, we need to sell the company because we're buggered before Bezos and everything else go,
Well, the question is why is that going to happen? And right now, at this moment in time, and up until this moment in time, Disney Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all this stuff was luxuries that we could deal with and complain about, but we haven't found really a need to cancel them. I mean, I canceled my Disney Plus for, I guess protest reasons, but for the most part, people are kind of keeping it and that kind of thing. However, a major economic downturn, which I believe is coming before the end of this year. I think watching, I've been watching how in your neck of the woods, how pubs are going to have to close because they've gotten electric bills that have gone from let's say $2,000 a month to $10,000 or $12,000 a month, and they can't afford it. They're going to close down. They close down. Other places are going to close down. Jobs are going to be scarce, and suddenly streaming services are going to be the first thing that are going to get cut out of a family's budget. You can't afford it. And so if that's the case, then that's when they're going to start feeling the pinch. And if they don't have must-see stuff to kind of, at least I have, like, people might be willing to kind of keep their streaming service if they felt like they were getting a lot of great stuff in it and it's kind of cheap as opposed to actually going out to a movie or going out to the pub or some of these other things. The cheap thing that I could get some instant entertainment, at least I like it. But if they have nothing compelling and everything is just woke garbage, it's going to go. People are going to spend their entertainment, their precious entertainment dollar, because they don't have that many anymore, somewhere else.
It's a bubble that will burst eventually. It's got to burst somehow.
And it'll be outside forces that make it happen, like the economic downturn.
Rogue has just put, he's right. Do you want to heat my house or have Disney Plus? But it's true. And then the problem is as well, on top of that, Netflix for a good few years had them a complete monopoly on streaming, and they were doing brilliant. But now everybody's doing it. You got Disney Plus, you got Amazon, you got Hulu, you got Paramount. All these other companies are doing the same thing, and then again the bubble's going to burst because you pay for one, but you're not. Who can afford to pay for all of them?
Well, and he brings up and Animosu, whatever. He brings up a good point. He says the Daily Wire's entertainment division will dwarf Disney one day. I don't know, but I'm thinking that if they keep putting out good stuff that isn't woke, and you have to choose between the wokeified Disney, wokeified Prime, ruining all your properties, and these guys putting out new and interesting and different that isn't woke and is fun and
Who
you
was
like
that?
it.
Who was that guy recently with the comic book, and he made like $1.5 million in.
I forget the name, but I know you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
People are, so maybe streaming doesn't completely go away. Maybe people start saying, well, I'm going to have to cut a few of these. I think I'll keep the Daily Wire and Disney can go away.
Yeah, the bubble will burst, and it's going to be quite
bursting now.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Thor: Love and Thunder has shown that because it didn't hit the figures it needed to, and because people are just fed up with it.
They still have that Eternals money.
Yeah. Well, that Taiki Waititi or whatever the fuck his name is, he's out for the next Thor. They've got rid of him. He's not in for the next Thor movie. So that tells you everything. If it was a success, he'd be in. Things are happening. Things are definitely happening.
It's kind of, who do they replace it with? Because I don't want to say somebody worse, because I mean, I do rate Taika Waititi, whatever he's called. I do rate some of his movies. They are quite decent. Guardians
Every
of the Galaxy.
goddamn stream with this. Taika Waititi. Jesus Christ.
Whatever. That bloke who directed Guardians.
No, that's James Gunn.
That's James Gunn.
Oh God, yeah, sorry. Oh, I don't know where I was going with that.
Is that one tough to pronounce too? Can you do that one?
Brain hurting, function not well at London stream on. But with it, he has made some decent stuff. But from the fact that he's not coming back, but you do think to yourself, right? Who are they going to get in next? Because what I'm waiting for is for some sort of trans black albino disabled woman, whatever, to come in and direct something.
Thalidomide.
Whatever, who was ticking all the boxes to make something, and then it's just. I'll tell you what's a classic example of that. Not in that respect, I don't know who directed it, but they are pandering to that crowd, and it was bloody awful. And again, it's kind of they've made it. I can't imagine how much money it's made. It'd be interesting to look at it. Actually, I'm just going to have a quick look whilst we're talking. But they made it, and it's an absolute load of crap. And so they're thinking to themselves, hang on a minute, who are we pandering to here? Because it's not working. Them. How much did it make? It was directed by John Logan, whoever he is. I'm sure he probably wears a skirt. It hasn't got the financials on there. But again, they're trying.
Well, they then probably made about £4.
But they're making this stuff for these people, and it's just. And again, another classic example of this is somebody was saying the other day about the National Women's Basketball League, how feminists have apparently been screaming to see this and everything else, but the viewing figures
they won't watch it.
Yeah, nobody watches it, and these people are all fighting for these causes, and it's like, are you going to go and see it? Oh no, I don't like basketball. No, I'm not going to go and watch it. Why are you fighting then? And again, they keep pandering to these people, and eventually they're going to be pandering to them, and then go, hang on a minute, no, this isn't working because we're pandering to these people, but they're not buying the product. They're not our target audience.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just keep pouring good money after bad, and I mean, it's just not sustainable. I mean, like China, they're building all these dumb ghost cities. And, sooner or later, something's going to, if nobody's using this and you're wasting all these resources, it's going to fall apart on you. If you're building all this woke stuff and nobody's watching it, and there's an economic downturn, which there will be, because there always is.
Yep.
It's going to fall apart on you. You're going to end up losing. I think Amazon's in for a shit show with this. I think it's going to. I don't think Lost Leader even begins to cover it. I mean, it commits an even worse cardinal sin than She-Hulk. She-Hulk is a lot of things. It's not boring. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's not boring. This was not only a lot of weird wokeness, but it was also boring as crap. And cliched. And everything was just, I mean, it was just like bad acting, the only thing that was good in there was most of the special effects. Most. That's about it. And, it's like, well, I can look at a painting if I want to see something pretty. I don't have to spend, 5 seasons and, 40, 50 hours worth of nonsense for this. I didn't do that.
Mm. So, yeah, well, Rings of Power is quite good then. What do we give it? A good 4 out of 5?
I give it 5 out of 5 colostomy bags.
I'll give it a 2 out of 5 because it's exactly what I thought it would be. It's boring.
I'd like to say I'm intrigued to carry on watching it, but I'm not expecting much. For an hour a week, I'm gonna just sort of carry on with it, but I'm not expecting much.
You go right ahead with that because I am not investing any more into this. I'll take She-Hulk. I'll take that one for the team. You take.
You do the next She-Hulk then.
I'll do the next
She-Hulk, Yoda.
I've got to do Andor at the end of the month as well.
Yeah, you can do that.
I'm actually, I don't know. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to say I'm optimistic. I'm just saying some of what I've seen of it is kind of like. It feels like a different kind of style and direction they're going with. It might be interesting. That being said, it's Disney, so it's probably going to suck.
I'm going to go in with an open mind, but my expectations for anything these days are so low. I mean, I think my local cinema is going to be having Marcel the Shell with Shoes on. That I'm looking forward to. It's only a small cinema, but like an independent one. That I'm looking forward to because that I will be pleasantly surprised by. Whereas, like I say, if it's got Disney or Amazon or basically any of the major networks on there, my brain immediately goes, and just has an impending sense of dread and doom before you go into it.
What about House of Dragon? Has anyone been watching that?
I'm going to wait till it's all out.
It's not bad.
I'm hearing good things.
I've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's just like basically Game of Thrones has picked up again. Literally,
I do like the fact that this last episode they actually played the Game of Thrones theme because when it came on, I was thinking that's the Game of Thrones scene, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, I remember how the Game of Thrones ended. Don't you do that?
I know. There's a part of me. It's like you're gonna have another 5, 7, 8 seasons of this. It's like I've been hurt before, Matt.
Yeah.
I just don't want to invest all that time and then have them shit the bed again.
I'm watching that. I'll tell you what I've started watching again, Breaking Bad, because I want to watch Better Call Saul.
Great 2 series. And both of them stuck the ending. I mean, you can't really say that if you think about it.
Don't spoil Call Saul because I haven't seen it.
I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm just going to say that both of those series have stuck the landing better than any other series I can think of in recent memory.
Mando 2. That was
from the end of a season, yes, but they got more to go.
Oh, I see. End of the show. I see what you mean.
End of the show, yeah.
Mad Men.
I never got
Mad Men. Oh, it's amazing. Where's my
it did okay. It did okay. Yeah, I like Mad Men. Lost was terrible. I remember that one.
Oh yeah.
I liked it.
Lost is one of those series. Lost is one of those series which I would like to go back and watch, but I know I won't enjoy it again a second time.
You know what? I tried watching it about 6 months back, and I got the first episode in. I was like, no, I'm not doing this again.
That's old school, man. You have like 23, 22 episodes a season, hour-long episodes. You are in for a haul. We're getting kind of spoiled by these 10-episode seasons. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh. Yeah.
Well, I watched the first 2 episodes of Better Call Saul, and I was like, do you know what? I can't actually remember what the hell's going on. So I've gone back to Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I rewatched Breaking Bad a little while ago. I've gone through the series twice now. And it's really good. It's amazing. I love the descent, all that kind of stuff. Better Call Saul seems to deepen and has a lot more complexities to it, and still works. I'm really torn between which series is better.
Yeah, a lot of people. Well, my son Jake, he loves Breaking Bad, and he says Better Call Saul's better.
There is a case to be made. I'm hesitant to say it so soon after it's ended, and I feel like you kind of give these things some time to settle, maybe rewatch, really let it sink into the public subconscious, and then maybe we'll figure out which one is better. It's really tough to say. I will say that Breaking Bad is a somewhat simpler narrative than Better Call Saul.
Right.
And that's not, I'm not trying to, that's not a criticism necessarily. It's just that there's more going on in Better.
Okay.
Okie doke. So guys, let's wrap this up. It's been an interesting chat.
This was a good one, I think.
It was a good one.
We had some really good stuff. I talked 15 minutes nonstop, and I love the sound of my own. So I figure that's good.
I was waiting for you to take a breath so I could try and interrupt, but there wasn't.
No, I didn't let you. I saw you gearing up. I was like, no, you're not getting in this one. I'm on a roll, baby.
Yoda, would you like to wrap up for us?
Absolutely. So thank you very much for watching our part B of our initial stream that apparently got sucked into the depths of the internet hell. So sorry about that. But I will do what I did the last time we had this problem and stitch them together for a podcast, which you will find in most of the major podcast sites, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. You just search for Last Movie Outpost. Amazon. Yes. Amazon Prime. And you search for either Outpost Frequencies, Last Movie Outpost, and you'll find us. You can reach us at contact us at lastmovieoutpost.com. I am at Drunken Yoda 1. He is at Boba Phil, and we are at Movie Outpost on Twitter. So hit us up on those. You can reach us on Facebook at /movie. Is it /movie outpost or /last movie outpost? You'll find us. If you want to find all the links, though, to all the different social media sites, then just simply go to lastmovieoutpost.com, where you'll find the latest on movie news, streaming news, and everything cool about film. So, Matt, got anything you want to finish up with?
I would just like to say thank you to Rogue Thought and I can't say it, Anomiso. I'd like to know where those guys come from, whether they visited the site or not.
We do appreciate all the visits, yes. And everybody else that watched. One day we'll get super chats.
Well, I've got a Getter and a Gab account now for Eggy Eggs at Eggy Eggs. So I've been posting in all the channels, so perhaps we might get some new viewers from there.
Yep. And if you ever want to be a part of this wonderful fan-driven community, you just reach out to us. And if you maybe want to put an article, maybe you want to help us with our marketing, maybe you want to help us with social media, maybe you got a particular skill you want to help us out with, we are always looking for people to join us on this.
Coming over a bit like begging there, Yoda, near the end.
Yeah.
anything, please, anything, just anything at all.
I think that was the goal. Yes. Love us, please. Bill, you got anything else to say, or you want to shit on me some more?
No, no. I've had enough today. I was planning on getting some videos done, but I've got a very busy couple of weeks. But what I have got a video coming up of myself and Sean talking about extreme cinema again. This time, Last House on the Left, both the original and the remake. The original was by Wes Craven, and you should check out our Serbian film review because that's quite amusing. Yeah, but yeah, like I say, we. That's the only thing I've got coming up. Apart from that, like I say, unfortunately, very busy the next couple of weeks. But I will be back for the live stream next week.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and we will see you on the next stream.